Welcome to another update from Elixir's voyage around the world. My name's Max, and exactly 5 years ago, I began rebuilding this 1970s Swan 37 with a group of friends in my hometown of Falmouth in the UK. Since then, we've restored Elixir into this fine vessel and taken her to the complete other side of the world. After sailing up the coast of Central America to Mexico, we left on the longest passage of the trip so far. Almost 3,000 miles of open ocean sailing across the Pacific from Mexico to French Polynesia. We left North America in the sunny northeast trade winds and made our way south towards the equator. After a few days at sea, we managed to find some routine, and the long days of sailing slowly began to blend together. Crossing from the northern to southern hemisphere was a big deal, so we threw a party to celebrate in the cockpit. And then the sky clouded over, and for 4 days we endured a seemingly never-ending succession of rain squalls. Everything became soaked, and it seemed like when each squall finished, there was another dark cloud. Thankfully, the sky finally cleared, and after a little over 3 weeks, the faint shape of an island appeared on the horizon. We were blown away by the beauty of Fatu Hiva. The landscape was green and dramatic, and it felt so good to arrive in this paradise after the long sail from Mexico. And to make it even more exciting, we had some friends in the anchorage waiting for us.
Okay, Elixir is coming in. Let's go. When we arrived in Fatu Hiva, after crossing the Pacific Ocean, it was kind of surreal. After so many days, it felt so strange that it was right there in front of us, the indents in the rocks, and then see green come out, and then see water crashing onto it, and the color of the water being so blue. And yeah, it was something special to come and be so welcome. We were honestly a little overwhelmed because we hadn't talked to other people for 23 days, but it was really nice. As soon as we anchored, I don't even think the sail was down. We jumped in the water, and God, we were so stinky, we needed to jump in the water.
Maybe it's because we'd just spent so long at sea, and our last view of land was the dusty shorelines of Mexico, but I could not believe the beauty of our surroundings. It was like something from another world. The volcanic rock formations were like huge fingers pointing into the sky. Everything was so green and lush. Never have I been so in awe of land, and it felt so rewarding knowing that we'd sailed there.
Some big ass leaves. Whoa, yeah, I can't even let go. Whoa, it just keeps going. It's so hot.
So it's been almost 4 years since we sailed out of our hometown, and since then we've ticked off almost 12,000 miles. If you could tick the subscribe button and put a smile on the faces of the Elixir crew, it would help out the journey a lot. Thank you. It literally felt like we had sailed into paradise. We hadn't left the boat for so long, and we spent the first few days going on a few short hikes and exploring this beautiful island. You can never really switch off on an ocean crossing, and we made the most of the opportunity to take it easy for a few days, catching up on sleep and getting used to walking again, and swimming in this beautiful waterfall that was only a short hike from the anchorage. We were all so salty after the crossing, and it felt good to be swimming around in fresh water again. Fatu Hiva is one of the smaller islands in the Marquesas group. It's a very isolated community, and only about 500 people live on the island. It doesn't have an airport, so it's only really accessible for sailors. There are no banks or ATMs, and the main town is a 3-hour hike away. This was a taste of what was to come, and I felt so excited to be here with Elixir.
The Marquesas they're really green, like all different types of green. We went on this long hike, actually to the top of a telephone pole, and yeah, I just remember being so in awe, looking at 4 or 5 different shades of green with the light coming through the clouds, and the mountains and the kind of the cliffs and the blue water. I don't know, the colors have just been really vibrant and beautiful. Have you ever been to Scotland? It's here. While we were sailing across the Pacific Ocean, I started writing a little song, actually on day 12, right before we made halfway. We're on a boat, we're sailing across the Pacific Ocean. Takes a month, well, 3 weeks. There's 3 of us, Max, Chloe, and myself. I'm Alex. And our boat, yeah, we call her Elixir. She's a babe, just like the waves, we'd best be on our way across to Fatu Hiva in French Polynesia. Ever been? Well, us either. It's been 23 days since we've seen any land. We've seen some clouds, and don't you worry, we've made friends. Some dolphins, flying fish, and little squids. Well, they're dead. Jumped aboard at night, they fried like little raisins in the sun. R.I.P. Just picked up this guitar. I was starting to go a little stir crazy. It's been 2,730 miles. 2,730 miles. 2,730 miles. I'm eternally wet from all of those rain squalls. 2,730 miles. 2,730 miles. 2,730 miles. And you bet your ass that it's been well worth the while.
Yeah. After 1 week in Fatu Hiva, we've left and we're going to check in with customs another island called Hiva Oa. It's a 45-mile sail, so we've managed to do it in a day. And yeah, it's really cool because we can see 4 of the islands at the moment. They're all incredibly green and mountainous. Yeah, it's all pretty beautiful. This is Hiva Oa in front of us right now. We found that the locals are very generous at giving away fruit, so we filled the boat full of bananas and lemons and limes and these things called pamplemousse, which are like grapefruits, I guess. They're really delicious. What do you think about the fruit in the Marquesas?
Oh, it's brilliant. We're definitely got no risk of getting scurvy because we've been eating so much citrus. Pamplemousse are delicious. They're like a grapefruit, but like bigger and sweeter and juicier. It's so nice to be inundated with the food, fresh food after passage. And the most amazing thing is that people are really generous and have given it to us just straight out of their gardens.
So this is the pamplemousse. It's probably my favorite fruit that we've eaten so far in the Marquesas, and it's literally growing everywhere. We've been eating like 2 or 3 of these a day. They're just like huge grapefruits and they're really delicious. We're on the beautiful island of Hiva Oa today, and we've hired a car for the day to do some exploring. Right now we're walking on a little trail because we're going to find tiki, which is an ancient stone carving of one of the Polynesian gods. It's nice to be inland for a change.
Got a Suzuki Jimny to take us where we need to go. It's very beautiful though. Have a look at what's going on.
All of the Marquesan Islands are very volcanic and rugged. I don't think I've ever been in such a fertile environment, and everything was so green and alive. When you spend your life on the water, getting in a car and driving along a road is a novel experience. The whole island was a sensory overload, and we were constantly pulling over to look at the different views, beaches, and all the other aspects of Marquesan culture. We made the most of the hire car by picking as much fresh fruit as we could. It seemed like everywhere we looked there was something edible growing. Mangoes, papaya, breadfruit, avocados, and of course our favourite, the pamplemousse. They were all pretty high up in the trees, but luckily for us we had one very tall crewmate. Alex, can you reach those?
Oh my god.
Oh my god, they're so juicy. What is that, Alex?
That one has been.
Oh, this is a pamplemousse. I just knocked it down from this tree with a stick. We're at an archaeological site and we forgot our water, so this is maybe a little refreshment for us. We're on a little bit of a road trip today. We've gotten a lot of fresh fruits, so we'll see how they ripen out.
You can't come to the Marquesas without visiting a few tikis. These iconic stone carvings are representations of Polynesian deities. In fact, they are half human and half god. They have massive heads and bulging eyes, and it seems like everywhere you look, there is a tiki staring straight back at you. It's not clear how old these tikis are, but it's obvious that they've been here a long time before any Europeans arrived in the islands. The Marquesas are part of French Polynesia, which is an overseas territory of France, but despite the French influence, the islands have managed to retain a lot of their unique culture. All the Marquesan people that we met were extremely open and friendly. They are descendants of ancient Polynesians, great navigators who populated most islands in the South Pacific in open voyaging canoes thousands of years ago with no navigation instruments, just using the wind and the stars. I'd never experienced anything like this before, and I was fascinated by all of the myths and legends of Polynesian culture.
Max has got his camo on, he's f***ing ready. He's driving the boat. Wow, oh my gosh.
We spent a lot of time freediving in the Caribbean as well as on the Pacific coast of Central America, but the clear water and coral reefs of the South Pacific was a whole new world. You could easily spend all day down there, and there was so much life everywhere you looked. Straight away we saw a turtle and then a black-tip reef shark, and I don't think I've ever seen so many fish. And when you have to come back up again for air, it's hard to get your breath back as you're met with these breathtaking views. I can't even do justice to the beauty of the Marquesas in this video, but it genuinely felt like we were surrounded by paradise.
This island is maybe one of my, I think it is my favorite. This anchorage in particular is my favorite because it's just the clearest water that we've been in. We're anchored right off of this beautiful beach. Even though it's been a little rainy here, it's just been nice to see all of the different wildlife we've seen. We saw an octopus earlier today. We saw this huge manta ray the other day snorkeling in the morning. And then on the other side of the island, or just one anchorage up really, we saw a shark while we were snorkeling. You know, I'm so used to swimming in the lake, it's been incredible to see all of this, I don't know, yeah, this life in the water. And it's also been really cool for me to, you know, slightly grow more comfortable swimming in the ocean and kind of be a little less afraid, a little bit more comfortable with things living in it.
Got to do my morning exercise.
The sailing lifestyle has its ups and downs. I feel like we've had our fair share of obstacles on this journey. If you scroll back through these videos, you can see when we got caught out by a Saharan sandstorm, boarded by potential pirates in Venezuela, sailed through a tropical storm in Guatemala, and the time I went to jail in Mexico. These lows make moments like this even more rewarding. Our first few weeks in the Marquesas were like a dream, sailing from one perfect anchorage to the next, constantly surrounded by beautiful nature and intense wildlife. Each day we had a new exciting encounter with some amazing creature we'd never seen before. Life at anchor really was a cheap existence. We were living off the huge amount of rice and beans that we bought in Mexico, along with the fresh fish, fruit and coconuts that was readily available all over the Marquesas. With little distractions or pressures, no Wi-Fi or phone connection, it felt like we could really be present and appreciate how special these islands really are. Okay, do you want some coconut juice? How is it?
Yeah, fresh. Delicious. Perfect. Bit drippy.
Okay, Rico.
It is quite leaky. Sweet. You want some, bro?
I'm alright.
Okay.
Oh, les îles des Marquesas sont très jolies. And we've met loads of French people, so we've been speaking French.
Yeah, you can see why everyone spent so long here. It really is like a sailing paradise. Countless number of anchorages, each one sheltered with dramatic scenery. Like, you can just walk around the island and pick fruit. There's a ton of marine life. It's just an amazing place to be with a sailing boat, and I think we're all feeling very lucky to be here on board Elixir. To think about how far we've come in the last 3 years, leaving the UK and then crossing Biscay, the Atlantic, across the Caribbean Sea, coming through the Panama Canal, all the way up to Mexico, and then 2,800 miles across the Pacific, and now to be here with my home in these remote islands in the middle of an ocean. At times it doesn't feel real, and having Elixir anchored here, like within swimming distance of this beach, it's just been amazing. One thing about French Polynesia is it's got to be the most expensive country I've ever been to. We're still just eating our provisions that we bought in Costco in Mexico because like we can't really bear the thought of doing a supermarket shop here.
We've been on this island almost a week now. We're on our way to Fatu Hiva, where I'll be hopping off of the boat. But before that, we'll get to go to Daniel's Bay, which is supposed to be a really beautiful anchorage there. And we'll go to a waterfall. We'll probably try and go swimming again. Yeah, and just, you know, I'll enjoy my last week in French Polynesia.
It felt like so much had happened already, and this really was only the start of our time in the South Pacific. Like a lot of other sailors, it had always been a dream of mine to sail through this part of the world. Now it was actually happening. I had to pinch myself from time to time as it didn't feel real. It truly is a magical part of the world. The mythical stories of ancient Polynesia, dramatic islands, and the intense natural beauty that I'd never seen before. Over the next 6 months, our plan is to sail through the entirety of French Polynesia, a group of islands spread out over the area of Europe. Afterwards, we plan to visit even more nations in the South Pacific, the Cook Islands, Samoa, Tonga, and on to New Zealand. So stay tuned for the South Pacific chapter of Elixir's circumnavigation. It's going to be epic, and I can't wait to share it with you. Thanks again for watching another video from our voyage around the world. If you want to help us in this endeavour, then please subscribe to the channel. I'd also just be super grateful if you could engage with this video, so like, comment, share, post it on your Instagram story, and if you do, I'll repost it in front of almost 300,000 people. As you can probably tell, we have a lot of crew coming and going on board Elixir. If you're interested in sailing on board this boat on Elixir, then join the Patreon, because that's going to be the first place where I post any crewing opportunities. There's also some more content there, and it's a great resource if you're looking to buy a boat and go sailing, or just generally get into the sailing lifestyle. I'm happy to help anyone out. We also have merch, these t-shirts printed on organic cotton, water-based ink, also tote bags, which are just perfect for carrying around all your stuff. And yeah, thanks again for following this journey around the world. See you in the next video.